You know, romance gets a bad rap a lot, and we all know that.
I mean, people just think, oh, it's trash. Literally, it's trashy novels.
I grew up in the era of reading romance when, you know, it was his love lance and his man root. Let's just call it what it is and move on.
But as a genre, it's like literally the most feminist literature you can get. It's like mainly for women, by women, about women. The entire purpose is to make women feel empowered and feel good about themselves.
The women are always their own savior alongside with finding somebody to spend their lives with.
You know, in a lot of popular culture media, it's harder to find really multidimensional characters, where I feel like that's really common in romance. People have families, they have careers, and they have a love interest.
I like the fact that my women are kick-asses in corsets. My girls all have cool jobs, so they're like thieves or they are counterfeiters.
I always felt that curvier women, there weren't enough of them. So that's why I started writing them. I love the stories, they were fantastic and the romance was great, but I was like, well, you know, that's not like a girl like me.
I have actually a female character in one of my books who comes down with a sexually transmitted infection, and it's a huge disaster and a blow to her ego and her sense of self. And I did once get a letter from somebody who thanked me for writing that story because that happened to her, and she was horrified and embarrassed and felt a lot of shame, but she really loved the portrayal of that event in this book and that it's not the end of the world.
I think there's so many facets to women, and I don't think we should have just any one sort of heroine. I've written the really sort of shy, come out of your shell types. I've written ones that just, you know, kick ass from start to finish. We went through a phase in romance, I feel like, where we had nothing but what everybody said was kick ass heroines. I'm like, that's great, but for the girls who are super shy, I mean, sometimes even I couldn't relate. I want to relate to this girl.
You see it in a lot of mainstream sort of popular culture that FF or lesbian relationships, it's like this is for the pleasure of somebody else to watch. When you're looking at the romance genre, you're talking about women's pleasure, and that's really powerful. You don't see it a lot.
I grew up in a kind of conservative part of the country where girls my age didn't talk about sex or sexuality.
I get a lot of email about this too, where people feel as if they didn't really understand themselves or they didn't understand that something was okay.
So it's been a real journey for me to portray women in a positive sexual light.
This is a way for them to get information and see it processed through a character's eyes and understand how it functions and how it might function for them.